Alrighty, welcome back everyone, it is LaughNgamez here. Today I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 replay cast. It's been a while since I've done a cast, I'd say probably around 2 weeks or so. Now, that's not completely for lack of trying or lack of passion or anything like that, it's just simply that there hasn't been too many high-level, unique replays out there. And I finally found one that I wanted to cast here. It's a Terran versus Terran on the map Proxima Station. Not sure if I already said that or not, but it's going to be interesting as one of the players spawning down the bottom left-hand side of the map, who always makes games interesting, playing for Team Psystorm, it is RuFF. So RuFF is a Terran player who's known to go for sort of unorthodox things, and here's, I guess, sort of a start, maybe just placing his supply depot there. A bit odd, maybe wanting to possibly block Reapers or go for a bit of a more in-depth wall, maybe a Reaper trap or something like that. But without further ado, spawning in the top right-hand side of the map, the red Terran player playing for Team Root, it is Semper. Now, Semper is a Canadian Terran player. He's one of the more solid Canadian Terran players out there who usually tries to just go for the same builds that all of the really high-level pros go, and he does a good job executing them for the most part. So, as far as this goes, we have a SCV scout for Semper here. It is a Terran versus Terran, and now this is where it sort of changes up a little bit. RuFF actually going for a CC first here on the map Proxima Station. This is an incredibly greedy build by all senses of the definition, as Terran versus Terran is not a matchup in which you can usually get away with economic openings. Semper has gone for a standard gas first Reaper here, it looks like. So he's going to be moving across the map, and I guess this is why RuFF wanted this sort of wall, to be able to catch the Reaper. Semper's going to move in here, he's going to see the barracks timing, and I guess he's just going to know that there's the CC first. He's gonna probably not honestly be too sure how to deal with something like this, whether he should go for extra aggression, as it's just a so uncommon build in Terran versus Terran, at least on this map. And now this wall for RuFF really makes a lot more sense here. He's gone for the supply depots, and you might think, why wouldn't he just wall off like a normal Terran up here? That's because the Reaper could jump up and get around. With this wall, there's literally no way for the Reaper to get into RuFF's base. And with this, that basically means Semper can't exactly get any damage done, he can't harass SCVs, and that's usually one of the main reasons why Terrans don't go for CC first, or super greedy builds, or gasless builds, or anything like that. It's because Reapers, they're so good at picking off units in here. We actually see Semper, he tried to jump over the supply depot. Terran players sort of went nuts with that, throwing the nade, bumping the Reaper over the supply depot at the start, simply based on the fact that they were like, oh, this is a new mechanic, let's do it all the time. There's one map at the start of Legacy of the Void, which there was back rocks, which Terran players would always Reaper jump over. Now, we see this Reaper, it's starting to work away on this reactor, but getting really nothing done. That SCV that was trapped inside gets killed off. Meanwhile, Semper, he's just going for, looks like to be a standard push going to be coming out of him, possibly a Banshee, actually. It's all going to depend whether he builds a siege tank. He's built a fast reactor on this factory, and he is going for a Widowmine. I assume it's going to be Widowmine into Banshee, possibly Raven. I'm not too sure about this build he's going for. Usually it's a bit of a more common macro opener that Semper's gone for here. Meanwhile, RuFF, he's just going to be a bit ahead on economy here. He's got the faster base up, but it's sort of interesting. It was a bit of a different path. He got up the quicker CC, but RuFF has invested so much into gas, as RuFF is a player who likes to go for mech, and we're sort of seeing that come out now. He's going for double starport here, so it's looking like it's going to be Ravens that are going to be coming out of RuFF. And now we're seeing Hellion starting to come out of RuFF. He's built up a good marine count, building off that reactor here. He's not going into bio or anything like this, and there's actually a scan going down for RuFF. He sees this from coming out of Semper, so he knows there's going to be a drop on the way. Semper's picking up in that medevac, going to move across. Semper's scanning off, now sees two starports, and is likely going to turn on the aggression even more, as this is turning into a standard macro build for RuFF here. Well, a standard mech macro build, which is usually vulnerable early on. So, Semper, he's swapping over this starport. He's gonna be getting tongue-tied here. It's been a while since I've done the whole regular casting thing. He's gonna be going for Vikings. That's usually what a what a non-meching Terran usually goes for when he sees that there's a Terran player who's going for this mass air. Reactor Vikings can be very useful to build up that camp. Now we see this drop for Semper moving in. Is it going to get any damage done? RuFF is already down on SCVs. He's starting to bleed off even more. Down to 26. Not pulling those SCVs too quickly is RuFF. He's got these Hellions. He's got this Cyclone, so he should be able to clean this up. The Widowmine is going to recharge. So RuFF is going to need to scan here to pick this off. He actually just drops a Mule, so RuFF needing all the minerals he can get, but that Widowmine is going to go off again. It might be able to get 1 or 2 SCV kills here. We're going to have to wait and see. Now, RuFF, he's down on workers, but he is still mining a large amount of gas, so this means he's still going to be able to make the investment into these Ravens. Ravens aren't, they're very gas expensive, and if you have the gas, the minerals is almost next to nothing. So RuFF is still going to be able to be producing these Ravens, but he's going to be very starved otherwise. Now that drop for RuFF, I'm not too sure what happened to it here. I guess it pulled back at some point. He must have lost the units. I wasn't watching it. Sorry, bad observing there on my part. I'm rusty, there's no doubt about it. Now, we're still seeing double Raven coming out of RuFF here. And meanwhile, Semper, he's just looking for some harassment. His stim, it's not a super quick stim out of Semper or anything like that, so he isn't going to have that to abuse here. RuFF's got a barracks floating on the right, his useless barracks. That's basically what a lot of mech players do. They don't need the barracks, so he's just floating it off for drop scouting. It is quite a way out there, though. Now we see Semper, he's actually moving up and pushing. He's going to kill off this reactor, it looks like. RuFF not expecting Semper to come in from this angle, but it seems that RuFF is going to push him back. Very well done. Good reaction time there. Now Semper, though, he is very ahead. He's doing what a Terran player needs to do when he's going up against a meching Terran, and that's to go super, super greedy, as his units aren't more effective or anything like that, so he's just going to try and make more. He's going to invest in the better economy, as a meching Terran isn't known to go for any attacks. Now, however, it is possible that RuFF is going to go for an attack here, as this is a very common build that RuFF has actually done, and I'm not usually one when I'm casting to talk about builds that I've done, but this is a build that can sometimes work if you're a Terran player and you want to go for aggression here. Now we see some Hellions actually got in for RuFF. They were dropping by this Medivac. He's killing off SCVs, but as I was saying about this build, it can sort of catch Terrans off guard. It can catch the non-meching Terran off guard if you'd turn on the aggression here, and that's because the non-meching Terran is usually just expecting to be the aggressor, so damage can be done. Now RuFF got a good amount of SCVs there. I believe it was 5 or so. Actually 17 SCVs have gone down for Semper there, so RuFF has been slowly killing them off this game. I guess he got some done with that first drop. He got some with those Hellions there. Now RuFF securing his third base, so we're seeing no factories going down for RuFF yet, so he is just committing to these heavy Ravens, so he's not going full turtle mech. And right now these Ravens do have some potential for aggression, but that potential for aggression is slowly dying off right now, as Semper does have this stim pack. He's building up a high siege tank count, high Viking count. So RuFF is really going to have to be defensive here. He's not going to be going for any of those weird Raven Hellion pushes that sometimes can work very well. Now we see building armor is actually coming out for RuFF, and this is to make his auto turrets more effective. So it actually looks like he might be moving out for a push here. These Ravens, though, they're moving into a very vulnerable position here, but it seems he might actually just try and collapse on top of his army. No, he's going to pull back. A PDD goes down to stop these Vikings. One PDD can stop so many Viking shots. So as long as RuFF invests in that, it could be very well for him. Now, Semper decides to land these Vikings. He would rather have them in the direct fight here. But this is how many Ravens this is. This is 7 Ravens with high amounts of energy. These auto turrets, they have the armor, so they're going to be very tough here. They put out so much damage. RuFF has all the Raven upgrades, so he's just going to slaughter this army with auto turrets. A few too many on the right there, though, so they aren't actually doing any damage. RuFF might have burnt too much energy there, but he does have more energy on 1 or 2 of these Ravens, so he should be able to clean this up here. If he throws down 1 or 2 more auto turrets, he does. He gets on top of this army. Not too many of the Ravens being lost as well, which is very important here. RuFF throwing down 2 more turrets, you're going to start picking off this army. RuFF has more Ravens on the way. He's getting up a PF, which is going to help him solidify this position. Semper lost his tank count, lost all of his units, and this is what makes RuFF's build so strong. Well, this is what makes Ravens so strong. They traded energy for army is how it went. Now RuFF has all these ravens. He's down on supply. He's mainly in workers though. He's down a good amount of workers. He's got this PF, so he's not going to have triple mule. But if RuFF continues to hang on, this is what makes mech so strong here. He's even getting high-sec auto tracking. I believe that increases the range of the auto turrets here. Maybe just for missile turrets. But either, oh, and the PF for certain. So RuFF is going to get some use out of this. He's made more upgrades that we don't often see so early in this game. Now we have 2-2 on the way for Semper, so he is going to try and continue to get this bio advantage on. He's throwing up a 4th base. He can do this with basically no consequence, as RuFF is just sitting at home. I would love to see a sensor tower or two, and we actually have one coming up for RuFF here, so he is going to be able to see, and this is a good position. I believe there's no way Semper can sneak past it. Maybe he just can, but it's not too likely he will. That sensor tower revealed those units immediately. Semper's looking to go for a big drop here. RuFF has a couple missile turrets, and Ravens are actually decent at preventing doom drops here. Doom drops are so effective in bio tank versus bio tank, because bio tank isn't very good at engaging into bio tank, but Ravens, if Semper goes for a drop and RuFF just gets a large amount of auto turrets on top of it, it can be very effective here. Now we see Semper is going for a drop. He's sneaking by. He's going to the back, and he is just going to sneak by the sensor tower placement for RuFF. It's just not quite good enough. Oh, but these medivacs are sort of drifting. They might be seen for RuFF. I believe they were not, though. So RuFF is going to be completely unaware of this. These Hellions are going to run into this army. He might see that there's no medivacs and think it's a bit odd. Now, this army is moving in. There is one missile turret in range that's got that high-sec auto-tracking, but all these medivacs are going to unload. RuFF is going to be forced to pull his units. Units are pulling back. Now, for Semper, there is 4 siege tanks, so he can siege up on this position, but RuFF, he's forced to lift to this space. The Hellions are moving in, the Ravens are moving in. Semper could lose all these units, so he's throwing down a large amount of auto turrets. So this army is sort of being forced back. Lifting off might not be worth it, as the army would just get picked off very quick. RuFF, so much energy on these Ravens, is going to clean this up, but now the base is sieged. However, there's a lot of Ravens for RuFF, so assuming this PF stays alive, he should be able to clean this up with relative ease here. And Semper actually knows this. He doesn't want to throw this army away, so he's pulling back, but RuFF is chasing after this army. These Ravens can put out so much damage here. Now RuFF actually getting that Corvid reactor, or wait, no, Semper getting that Corvid reactor upgrade. Semper's going into his own Ravens here. Okay, so Semper decided, okay, I'm not going to be able to get any damage done. This is very understandable for Terran players, as dealing damage to a meching Terran can be very tough. And now Semper, he's got 4 bases up. He's got 3 orbitals compared to RuFF's 2. He's going to have the much better economy, so he's going to have a very easier time building up a high Raven count, building up a high air unit count. And now we see RuFF actually throwing down his first Seeker missile. Semper, though, a very mechanical player, is actually managing to split those off relatively easily here. Missile turrets are getting up for Semper, so he's locking down this position here. RuFF is scanning. He actually sees 1 or 2 of the Ravens, so he knows this transition's on the way. So RuFF's going to have to be prepared for this. He's sieging this position. He's killing off all the missile turrets here. So now RuFF has a bit of room. He's actually getting off a Seeker missile. This might kill 2 siege tanks. No, Semper's going to pick him up. Very well done. You see auto turrets going down for RuFF. He's going for an engagement with Ravens. It's not too often you see this. Auto turrets now going down on both sides. RuFF not throwing down too many too quickly. I guess he's burnt through a large amount of his energy, and he is going to lose all these Ravens. It looks like he's being pushed back. RuFF's economy is not too well to replenish these. He's now down half the supply of Semper, almost making his attack work, but it seems that RuFF didn't have just enough energy there. Now throwing down an auto turret to shoo away these Vikings, but now RuFF is in a very tough situation. No 4th CC on the way for RuFF, so he's locked into these 3 bases. His economy is going to be drying up. RuFF has started transitioning into these tanks here, but Semper's continued with his own Raven production. So it's actually 2, but Semper's going to be able to build more Ravens. He's getting up Vikings. RuFF has lost that critical Raven count here. He actually needs to repair these Ravens drastically if he can afford it. Semper is now putting on the heavy aggression onto RuFF here. RuFF's just tucked into this 3rd base. It's going to be almost impossible for him to get a 4th base when he wants to. And even if he does, it may be too late. Semper's happily mining on his 4th base. He's getting up a 5th CC here, and he's going to be going for a push right now. There is 2 Ravens for Semper. He's got these Vikings, and it's actually more Vikings than RuFF has, so RuFF can't really shoo away these Vikings. Even though he has more Ravens, he can't take the air control. Actually looking to throw up some auto turrets, but they sort of gibble out there by the Hellion AI. One tank does go down though, but now RuFF, he's losing a very important refinery here. We see Semper, he's just shelling away this position. It's looking to be a slow death for RuFF right now. He's down on supply. He tried to make this mech work and he was doing a very good job of it, but it seems that Semper just found too many angles to get ahead in this game. RuFF actually re-sieges this position. He's going to be able to retake this refinery, but right now RuFF doesn't need a refinery. He needs a whole nother base. Semper's continuing to produce bile, but his main focus is Ravens right now. He has the upgrade advantage. RuFF has no upgrades for his mech units right now, so he's going to be in a very tough situation when it gets further into this game. Semper getting that explosive shrapnel upgrade, I believe that's what it is, which allows his Ravens to deal more damage. Semper, his bio is just sharking around, wanting to deny all positions for RuFF. A Marine here is going to start working away on RuFF's barracks. It's finally been forced to move as Semper is just making sure RuFF isn't taking more bases. A Marine at every base here. RuFF is not allowed to expand according to Semper. So 2 Ravens on out at a time for Semper right now. He's just... Ravens are very expensive, but he's slowly building into this. How many is he at? He's at 5 to 8 right now. And 3 Raven difference, 30 Marines. I think those 30 Marines and 17 Marauders are going to make all the difference right now. RuFF's in a very tough situation. He has a large siege tank count right now. He's just tucked in here completely. Now, so RuFF can stay alive for now, but it's going to be very, very tough for him to secure another base. It's going to be very, very tough for RuFF. Once Semper starts to establish more and more air control, right now Semper also has a large Viking count. He's up to 7, RuFF only at 2, so this could be very tough for RuFF. He might be able to take 1 engagement. I assume he's going to want... Does RuFF even have an armory? Will he be able to transform? Okay, he's finishing up 2 armories, so he's going to want to transform these Hellbats to have some more beef in his army. But he is going to be taking this base right now, though. Semper going for a Doom Drop. There's a large amount of missile turrets, but look at this. Semper with his own Ravens throwing down PDDs, these missile turrets, not shooting down any of these medivacs. And now Semper is in RuFF's base. These Ravens are now moving in, but Semper throwing down his Seeker missiles on top of this. He even has the upgrade, so these Seeker missiles might connect. No, RuFF turns around just in time there. We see auto turrets going down for RuFF, but not quick enough. A few Seeker missiles go down, but it's not going to kill off all this bio here, so now RuFF's in a very tough situation. He's been forced to pull back all of his siege tanks here. They're trying to re-secure his main base, but I have a feeling Semper's going to come in with another punch and start hitting this base. So RuFF has pushed Semper back, but now Semper's building up such a large army. He kept more of his Ravens alive. He's built up a higher Viking count. RuFF leading off all of his Ravens right now. RuFF is a player always known to hang on, but he knows it's time to call it quits, and GG is called as Semper takes it rough. RuFF always managing to put on a good game no matter whoever he's playing, but Semper just managed to sort of bleed him out. He got an edge. He managed to just solidly push through with that game. Always great to see these sort of different Terran styles. Ravens versus Ravens. Semper's transition to finally bring RuFF down. So if you guys enjoyed the cast, feel free to leave a like. Feel free to subscribe. I'm always putting out more casts. I know sometimes there's a bit of a gap, but I'm always trying to put out good, unique casts, sort of like this game here. Also, if you guys are unaware, I've actually partnered with Afrika, so I'm going to be casting basically a mini Starcraft tournament live on March 12th at 9 p.m. Pacific time, so you may want to tune into that. You can always check out my Twitter for updates on that, so hopefully you guys can tune into that and show some support for an actual live tournament that I'll be casting. Now, I shall see you guys next time, and hope you have a good day.